So this episode is principle, life before death. So in order to appreciate life, you must first understand that one day you will die. Now, to be connected to your mentality is the highest form of connection, but there are other ones that come before that. So there are 5 ways you can be connected. Number 1, you become connected to the Creator, connected to God, the one who made us all. So if you appreciate the fact that you were made in God's image, then you can understand that when people look at you, this is what they need to see. They need to see the light in the darkness. They need to see something that is greater than the world around them, because you are created in the image of the Creator, of the Lord, our Savior. Now, if you're connected in this way, it makes you strong, because you understand that you're not alone, that you have something above yourself that gives you strength when you run out of your own, which happens all the time. Now, the second way we can be connected is with nature, the creation. So some people worship nature. They look at the world around them and how beautiful it is. Oh, look at the trees. Look at the world around you. Look at the forest, the mountains, the ocean. How beautiful it is. And they start to worship this creation. But that's not correct. You need to be connected to it. So people a long time ago, like Native Americans, for example, 500 years ago or whenever, they were connected to the world around them. They lived in harmony with nature. They didn't abuse it. They didn't exploit it. They didn't just take whatever they wanted. They lived in harmony with the world. So they planted, and then they reaped the harvest, and then they planted again, and then they waited a little bit for the soil to regain its strength, so the nutrients can come back again, so you can let it rest for a little bit, and then you can have a more bountiful harvest in a year or 2 from now. So they're respectful to the world around them. They treated nature with respect. They were connected to it. And then the next level of connection is with community. So the people around you. You have to be connected to other people, whether it's family or friends or through your work environment. Just you build a community of other individuals around you, because a man alone is incapable of any wisdom. So by yourself, there's very, very little that you can do. By yourself, you're like weak. When other people are around you, you become strong. It says where 2 or 3 people are gathered in my name, I am among them. So when 4 or 5 people, when even more people come together, there's a certain strength that comes from the community. If you look at people who are isolated, people who live alone, their mortality rate is like 2 to 3 times greater than people who live in a community of other individuals. So isolation is worse than bad food, worse than smoking, worse than almost anything. You have to be connected to other people. And then the 4th way is to be connected with yourself. So if you're connected with yourself, you understand that every person dies alone. Sometimes you have to be alone. Sometimes you have to back up away from other people and isolate yourself for a small period of time, in order to gain strength. You isolate yourself. And then the 5th way to be connected is with your mortality. Once you understand that one day that you will die, you appreciate the life that you have. Every single day that you have is a gift, not one that's guaranteed. There are many people who are okay one day and then have a heart attack and die the next day, or get into a car accident. You have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. So if you understand this, you look at life a little bit differently. Every day I wake up, I'm thankful. The first thing I do is pray. And I thank God, thank you for this beautiful day that you've given me. Because I understand that this day is a gift. And it could be my last. I hope not. But it could be. So if you appreciate life, you start to live properly. And then you can't do that if you don't accept your mortality. So, for example, about 700-800 years ago in feudal Japan, there was this master, a tea master. That's all he did. He was like, in Japan, they had different arts. And this person, he was an artist, And what he did was just like make different teas all day long, like healing teas and relaxing teas. And that was pretty much what he did. And he was in the marketplace one day, and he bumped into a samurai, a great warrior, and he offended him. And then that samurai was like, oh, that's it. I'm challenging you to a duel. You're going to die. So in 2 days from now, you will meet me in this square, and me and you will fight to the death. And this tea master, he started to freak out. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to fight with the sword. So he went and found the best sword master that he went to the greatest school that he can find, and he seeked out the greatest master. And this master was like, I only have 2 days with you. I'm sorry, but when you fight this samurai, I know who this is. I know him very well. I know his reputation. When you fight him, you will die. But I can teach you how to die properly. So for the next 2 days, I'm going to teach you to do only 2 things. I'm going to teach you, number 1, how to draw your sword properly. And then number 2, I'm going to teach you how to die. Because this is exactly what's going to happen when you face this samurai. So 2 days went by. And all the tea master did for those 2 days was to come in, and the master was like, imagine that you're going back into your sanctuary, that you're preparing, you're doing the ritual, and you're preparing yourself this cup of tea. What are you doing? How do you do it? This is the same way you're going to draw your sword. You're going to come in, you're going to slowly take off your jacket, you're going to put it down, you're going to kneel, and then you're going to draw your sword, and then you're going to prepare to die. And then 2 days went by. He went to the square at the point in time to face the samurai warrior. There was a big crowd that was gathered. And then he walked on stage. He took off his jacket very slowly. He put it away. He sat down on his knees. He drew his sword calmly. And he got up and he prepared himself to die. The samurai took one look at him and he said, nah, I forgive you. It's okay. And he turned around and walked away. Because he understood at that moment that there is nothing greater than to face somebody who is not afraid to die. Because at that moment, this person has nothing to lose. You know, that's when greatness can start to happen. Because you understand how finite your life really is. How weak you really are in some ways and how strong you are in others. You know, every single human being is a dual nature. You're very weak in one way, but the same way you're very strong. And it's how you deal with those things that makes you who you are. So for a conclusion, I personally have no idea how I'm still alive. I've had at least 20, 30 near-death experiences. I used to be a heroin addict. I did a lot of drugs that broke me in certain ways. So my body failed me. When I was 25, I died 3 times. My lungs collapsed. I OD'd. My gallbladder got inflamed. I remember being in the hospital, and the doctor was like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do to help you. You know, today is probably going to die. And then he just left me there. And then a nurse came in right after him, and she's like, no, you're not going to die. And she prayed for me, and I got better. And I'm still here. You know, that was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and every day is very difficult for me. But I appreciate every day that I have. You know, I wake up, and the first thing I do is pray. And I'm like, thank you, God, for this beautiful day that you've given me, because it might be my last. So that's the principle of life before death. And that's all I have to say.